Hi, this is Emmanuel from EFRIS Company Uganda Limited. Welcome back to part 2 of our series for step-by-step process to set up and configure the EFRIS Offline Server. In part 1, we looked at installation of dependency applications, Java, Microsoft.NET, C++. We looked at the TCS installation and install. We finalized by generating SSL certificates from each company. And in this video session, we are going to be looking at part 2 of the serial, where we are going to register the generated SSL thumbprint in EFRIS, register of the TCS device number, mapping device number, the public key, mapping TCS with private key, and initializing the TCS. For you who is watching part 2 and you haven't watched part 1, kindly go back, look for part 1 of the session, go through it, understand the steps that you're supposed to follow one by one before you can go ahead to do the next part. Yes, it is crucial. Take the video serious. It can help you, it can guide you to understand what you're supposed to do. Now, we stopped in part 1 by generating this SSL certificate from a token, this certificate. At this point, we are going to be registering this to EFRIS. However, before we can register this to EFRIS, I'm required to log in my EFRIS account. So I'm just going to come to EFRIS test. For production, we go to production. So I'm going to come to EFRIS test. Now I'm going to request for OTP. Request for OTP. So I have my OTP here. I'm going to take this and take it to my file. So I'm going to use this. Is what I'm going to use for test. Okay. Now I'm going to log in the EFRIS account. When I talk of EFRIS, I'm talking about the EFRIS test. For this particular one, I'm talking about the EFRIS test for this particular one. What are we going to do? Our guide says we are going to register the SSL thumbprint on EFRIS. So I'm going to come to my dashboard or account. Here is the thumbprint. I will copy this to clipboard. I will come to EFRIS test or EFRIS. I will come to, if at all you don't have these other options here, it means you have never used EFRIS, so you need to go ahead and first do first time registration here. Come to this, then choose first time registration, fill in the few details, then you go ahead and submit. Make sure you don't set this to yes, set this to no. Then you can go ahead and submit this application. Then you refresh the page and have this. If you select EFD, then you will have to approve and you have to contact them first. So for registering a thumbprint, I'm going to come to device management. Then I will come to thumbprint configure list. At this point, I can search to see the thumbprints we have. I'm just going to add one. I'm going to add one. This thumbprint is generated by this company. And how do you know that? When I come here, You have this preview form. You can download this. Let me go ahead and download this. Okay, I can use the preview. After this is a thumbprint, same as the same. I'm going to click is generated by tax authority. Company Uganda Limited, valid from. I'm going to check the form again. It is valid from today and expires 7th of Feb 2028. So it is valid from today and will expire 2028 7th of Feb. Now you need to go ahead and upload your digital certificate. So digital certificate, I'm going to download this. I'm going to place it in our working folder. Our working folder is okay. This is our working folder. For you in production, you make sure you go ahead and sign and stamp here before uploading to URL. Make sure you put the date as well if your stamp doesn't put up the date. So in test, I will go, and also one thing to note in production, after submitting that, you have to wait for URL to approve. They review the document and should be very clear. So in test, I'm just going to go ahead and upload this Thumbprint certificate that we just exported. I'll upload this. I'll go ahead and submit. Now, by default, in production, this will be pending until you approve. Then in test, it is enabled automatically. After doing that, part 2 we are going to look at, you need to register a device number, your TCS device number. So you have to go back to your TCS. TCS runs on port localhost port 9880 9880/EFRIS TCS. So you enter the password that you set up after installation. This is the device number. I'm going to copy this and I come to EFRIS. For device number, you come to device management, then you come to device application. You can click on search to see what you have. I'll click on add. I'll enter my details. Then I click on add. You select the branch. Now, what we are working with is EFRIS Offline Enabler. So I'm going to check this. Then this here, I'll go ahead and enter my device number here. Then I click on save. After clicking on save, in production you have to select your service provider here. If at all your service provider is one working on you. Other than that, you can as well use self-sign or save and you do a UAT, or after you have done a UAT. If you're going to use self in production, it means you first have to write to URA, the request for UAT. UAT stands for user acceptance testing. URA will give you an appointment, to give you a date. Then you go through the system, you demonstrate to them whichever system you're using, how it works, and they test. If your system passes, the minimum requirements that are required and everything is okay, then you'll have to sign the acceptance form with URL. After signing, then you go ahead and onboard and production. Yes. For you who is not willing to take that step, we can help you and register your device application at this point, but at a fee of 250. 250 we can approve for your device application, or you can do the UAT with URL. At least the solutions or the APIs and so on are in position to cater for all those steps. So the things you have seen here which may cost you SSL certificate, and now we're also looking at the device application. The third one will also be coming or in the fourth, depending. But for this particular one, now in the test, you just go ahead and select test. After doing that, then you go ahead and submit. Okay, it has been submitted. The next step, mapping the device number and public key. This is the device number the TCS gave us. Yes, we have gone ahead to submit this at URL. In the test, by default, it automatically becomes distributed, meaning approved. So now we are saying we are going to map the device number and the public key. The public key was generated from this website. So here is my key. We register this Thumbprint. I'm now going to download the public key. I'm also going to move it to our folder that we are working with. When you double click on it, you'll be able to view the other details associated with it. Okay, so what we are going to do, we are going to mark this as the device number. I'm going to go back to EFRIS. I'm going to come to device management, then I look for device public key. We first looked at device Thumbprint, then device application. Now we are on device public key. You're going to look for the device number by hovering over the one that you intend to map. Ours is 8, ends with 883. When you look at this, you can see these ones are default. These ones have already been mapped, so this is the new one, and it is 883. So I will select this, go ahead and upload the public key, then I click on submit. So here we have gone ahead and mapped. We have finished mapping the device number and the public key. The next thing is mapping TCS with a private key. Here is the TCS. We need to map this with a private key. I'm going to go back to this website and download the private key. Please note the password is 1 to 8 for the private key. To test the password, I'm just going to first copy the private key file to our folder. The certificate, this is the certificate, and then personal information exchange means the private key. The private key is in format that people, the system supports people or EFX, then the certificate should be .cer or CRT. To test your password, you double click on this, click on next, as if you want to install, then you go ahead and fill the password. If I put the wrong one, you see this. Now if I add the 8, it should pass this step. Now it means the password is correct. So we are going to map the TCS to the private key. To map the TCS to the private key, I come to the TCS again. I come to configure private key. Then I need to go ahead and choose the private key file. I need to go ahead and set the password for the private key. Then enter the PIN number. I'm just going to look for the PIN number here. This the PIN number where we configure the Thumbprint. Then I will click on submit. Okay. So after installing the TCS, you have registered the Thumbprint. Each Thumbprint is being obtained from the SSL that was generated or bought on each company website. And this is the Thumbprint that you're submitting. It has been approved, and test approval are automatic. Secondly, register device application under device management, device application. When you click on search, when you come to device public key, you can see it here. Then you go ahead and upload your public key, map it. You see, the public key is the same as the current one being used. Okay. The next step is to go ahead and map the TCS with a private key. To map the TCS with a private key, I come to TCS. I can configure private key. I browse, I pick the private key file. I put the password. This password is here. It was set when we were buying the key. Then the PIN number where we configured the details here. This. After doing that, I go ahead and click on submit. If it fails, whatever the version you're using for the TCS or Offline Server, or there is an issue with your certificate, but some versions of the TCS may just fail. Okay, I'll click OK. After doing that, the next step is we have finished mapping this. Then we need to initialize the TCS and log in. On the TCS, I'll click on TCS init to initialize. Just wait for the PIN number, specify it, and submit. I give it some time. Initialization successful. So now when I try to refresh this page, I now have the PIN number of the client. The status is online is true. And when I check down here, certificate is marked is true. Then I will do a TCS login. Perfect. At this level, we can fully say we are done with all it takes to map, to install the TCS and have it mapped The TCS is the tax control service, which is the offline enabler. So where you have been hearing TCS, offline server, offline enabler, I'm referring to the same thing, which is the tax control service in this one here. So in part 1, we looked at the dependency applications required. We installed the application, we generated the certificate. In part 2, we registered the Thumbprint at EFRIS. We went ahead to register device number, the TCS. We mapped the device number with a private public key. We mapped the TCS with a private key, then initialize the TCS and logged in. So at this point, the TCS for the offline server is fully mapped. However, you mapping the offline server does not mean it connects with your application. No. For your offline server to connect with any application, you need what we call the EFRIS API. Now, the EFRIS API we are talking about here is the WIF EFRIS API that is owned by WIF Company Uganda Limited. In step 3 or part 3, we are going to look at the EFRIS API for the offline server or enabler. We are going to look at EFRIS API installation and license activation. The fact that there is license activation, it means this API is paid for. We are going to test the API with EFRIS requests. We are going to connect to the API and see how the different endpoints work. Basically, how any other developer can connect with the endpoints and be able to send requests to the API. Part 1, part 2, we were strictly looking at how do you set the server to make it ready for requests. There are not so many documentations out there regarding EFRIS, but we as WIF company decided to work for you. Those of you who appreciate and give us opportunities to work with you, we appreciate, and we also get time to do these resources out there to help you who is having a client with an issue, or you yourself you have an issue to solve and you are wondering where you can start from. Let's meet in part 3. Thank you. I remain Emmanuel from WIF Company Uganda Limited. God bless you.